So how's it going? So today what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be doing my first lesson, and that is going to be playing Oasis and the song Wonderwall using a guitar.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it.
Now you're probably wondering, oh my god, there's so many of these right now, there's so many strings. Well, this is a 12-string guitar, and you really don't have to worry about that at all. You don't have to go out and make sure you get a 12-string. All you need is your standard 6. I'm sorry I don't have that for you right now, but you can manage. Shown in this image here is a 6-string acoustic guitar. Now, if you want more info, you can go online like Amazon.com to compare some prices, or you can go to your local musician store. The problem is, if you're a broke college kid like me and you really need to save some money instead of wasting your time, I would suggest going to the local musician store and asking one of the employees. Trust me, they really do help. Now, our extra instrument is a capo. And you can do the same exact thing that you did when you got your guitar at any local musician store, Amazon, online. And what this actually does is it goes on one of the frets on here. And what a fret is, if you still don't even know what that is, which is fine, it's each of these right here that have this metal bar that go across. Each space in here is called a fret. Now, what artists do is they use this instrument to place over one of these frets, and it presses down every single string to act like right here on the beginning of the neck. So, for example, if I place it on the second fret, the difference. Do you kind of hear that? It sounds a completely different sound. So, you know, running out of music, you got one of these instruments right here to put on one of the frets, and hey, same exact chords, but higher up on the neck. And hey, it sounds amazing. I know you guys are anxious, you really want to get started, but there really is one more important thing to do, and that is tuning the guitar. Now, when you have, don't pay attention to mine, I have 12, but what you want to do is make sure every single one's in tuning, and you want to have it in the top one, the lowest, the thickest string is an E, and that sounds like this. Now the next one is an A, and that goes like this. Third one, a D, then a G, and the second to last one, a B, and finally another E, but this is the thinnest one on the bottom, the highest pitch in sound. You can use a tuner to do this, and the same thing, get it with the capo or guitar, and voila, we're ready. Okay, so let's get started then. Now what we want to do is grab that capo and put it on the second fret. Now, I started realizing now, if you really don't have this, I mean, it's no big deal. You can still not use it. The thing is, it is going to be 2 pitches lower than the actual song, and if you're trying to play with the song, it's going to sound like a mess. So I suggest if you are picking up the guitar, or just order online and just pick it up and get it. I suggested it. A lot of other artists use this all the time, so it's highly recommended. Now, when you use a capo, instead of this being the first and this being the second, what it really is this is the first and this is the second. Okay, so the first chord we're going to start with is called an E minor 7th. Now, it sounds really technical and confusing, but in reality, it really is simple. Now, you want to start out by putting your pinky on the 3rd fret on the E string, and then your ring finger on the 3rd fret on the B. So E and then B. And then you want to put your index finger on the 2nd fret on the A string, this guy right here, this guy, and then you want to put your middle finger on the 2nd fret on the D string. And then you want to get a sound like this. Now, you don't want to be pressing with this chord, you don't want to be strumming the E. I'm trying to get you this image in here to show you my pinky that I have here, and I'm just strumming like, I'm not strumming this upper string here. I'm keeping it from the A down. Now the next chord is pretty easy, and you still want to keep these two planted here on that 3rd fret, the E and B, and then you go from this, like from before, the E minor 7th, and all you do is just move the middle finger up to the 3rd fret on the E. So you go from the D string on the 2nd fret, and you just move it over to here on the 3rd fret on the E. This chord is called a G. Now this is one of those chords you do have to strum all the strings, and you get a sound like this. So far what we got here is the E minor 7th, and then the G. Here, I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see everything. But so far what we had was the E minor 7th, going to the G, and then now this one is called a D sustained 4th. And what you do is you really just lift these 2 fingers off. You still keep that ring finger and that pinky on there. They seriously do not move the entire song. And you put your index finger on the G string on the 2nd fret. This guy. So when you go from here, the transition may be a little hard, but you just take these 2 off, put this guy up right here on the 2nd fret on the G. That's the 3rd one from the bottom. And you just want to make sure this part gets a little difficult. You strum from the D up to the E then. You don't want to be using these 2 guys here, the E and the A's. You just want to from the D up. So we got now the E minor 7th, and then the G, and then the D sustained 4th. We have one more. Now this last chord's got the most complicated name. It's called the A7 sustained 4. Now it's the easiest chord too, and that's what's funny about it. Now what we were doing was we were going from that D sustained 7th, or D sustained 4th. Right here we kept this, this is here and this is right there on the G string. And we're just strumming from the D down, and literally all you do is you go to the A7 sustained 4th. You just move this index finger on the D string and strum from the A. So you go from here, which is the D sustained 4th, and then you go just one thing up right there on the string, on the D string, and strum from the 8th. It's called A7 sustained 4. So yeah, there's all 4 of them. That's literally every single, the intro, the verse. The chorus a little bit different, but I'm not going to get too far into that. It's just enough to play in front of friends or get girls or whatever. So we're going to try playing this with me, and we'll see how this goes. So start out with the E minor 7th one that we had before. Go to the G. Now go to the D sustained 4th, then the A7 sustained 4th. Okay, well this basically wraps up the lesson. I'm going to play a quick 4 measures of the song, and notice how I do the strumming pattern. It's going to be a little confusing to see it on this. I have this pretty bad camera that I have here, but if you listen to the song, you'll start to become more comfortable with it, and it doesn't really matter how technical you strum it, especially if you're out having a bonfire with friends playing it. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to play a quick snippet of the song, and we'll see how it goes. And follow along if you can. If not, just play the video over or just keep listening to the song.